Incredible miracle now in Jerusalem, Jesus and an angel appear in the sky. Confirmed. Jerusalem, the holy city, has always been a place of great events and divine miracles. What we are about to tell you is an extraordinary event that shook all the residents and pilgrims of the city. Imagine walking through the narrow, bustling streets of Jerusalem, surrounded by the aroma of spices and the sound of prayers, when suddenly, something unbelievable happens in the sky. It was a sunny afternoon, with a clear blue sky without a cloud in sight. People were busy with their daily activities, merchants selling their goods, children playing in the streets, and elders gathering to discuss the teachings of the scriptures. Suddenly, an intense glow began to appear on the horizon, capturing everyone's attention. This glow was not ordinary, it was a pure, radiant light that seemed to descend from the sky like a cascade of stars. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked up, their mouths agape in astonishment. In the middle of this dazzling light, a figure began to form, bringing a mix of reverence and fear into the hearts of the spectators. The figure became clearer, revealing the image of Jesus Christ, dressed in a white robe that shone brighter than the sun itself. Beside him was a majestic angel, with enormous wings that stretched out like those of an eagle, reflecting light in all directions. The angel's wings had a neon blue glow, which contrasted with the white light around Jesus, creating a celestial vision that no one could ignore. Jesus raised his hand, waving to the people below, and an indescribable peace flooded the hearts of everyone. His eyes, full of love and compassion, seemed to penetrate the soul of each individual, as if he were speaking directly to each one of them. Jesus' words did not need to be audible, for his presence communicated everything: hope, faith, and the certainty that God was present. The angel beside Jesus spread his wings in a grand gesture, and a powerful yet gentle voice echoed throughout Jerusalem, "Do not fear, people of God. This is the confirmation of divine promises. The Lord is with you." The angel's voice reverberated in the hearts of the people, bringing tears of joy and gratitude to the eyes of many. This incredible event was witnessed by thousands of people, and soon the news spread throughout the city. It was not just a vision, it was a tangible miracle that confirmed the divine presence among men. People fell to their knees, thanking God for this glorious manifestation and renewing their faith in the biblical promises. In the midst of this celestial scene, Jesus and the angel began to slowly ascend back into the sky, leaving a trail of light that remained for several minutes, as a reminder of the miracle that had just occurred. The city of Jerusalem would never be the same, as this event marked a new era of faith and hope for all believers. Thus, the prophecy was fulfilled in a spectacular manner, reaffirming God's love for his people and reminding everyone that he is always present, guiding and protecting those who trust in him. This story will remain engraved in the hearts and minds of all who witnessed it, being passed down from generation to generation as a sign of the divine presence and the power of miracles. As Jesus and the angel ascended into the heavens, the crowd remained silent, absorbing the magnitude of what they had just witnessed. It was a sacred moment that transformed the lives of all present. The people slowly stood up, still amazed and moved by what they saw. Each had their own interpretation of the miracle, but all knew that something profoundly divine had happened. The news of the miracle spread quickly. Pilgrims from distant lands heard of the event and began traveling to Jerusalem, eager to step on the holy ground where Jesus and the angel appeared. The scribes and Pharisees, initially skeptical, could not deny the consistent accounts of thousands of witnesses. They gathered in fervent debates, trying to understand the significance of this occurrence. Among those who witnessed the miracle was a young girl named Miriam, who hurried to tell her grandmother, Hannah, a wise and deeply devout woman. Upon hearing the vivid description of the vision, Hannah recalled the ancient scriptures that spoke of the coming of the Messiah and the presence of angels as God's messengers. With tears in her eyes, she embraced Miriam and said, "My dear, we are truly blessed to live in this time. This is a sign that God is with us, guiding us and protecting us." In the synagogues, rabbis began to include the miracle in their sermons, highlighting the importance of maintaining faith in times of trial. They encouraged the community to reflect on their lives and renew their commitment to divine teachings. Many began to see signs and miracles in their daily lives, strengthening their belief that God was actively present in their lives. The merchants, who were previously concerned only with their businesses, now dedicated part of their profits to help the poor and needy, inspired by Jesus' compassion. The children who witnessed the event began to play angel and savior, mimicking the scene they saw in the sky, while their parents watched with pride and hope. The vision of Jesus and the angel also united people from different backgrounds and beliefs. Christians, Jews, and Gentiles began to gather to discuss the meaning of the miracle, creating an environment of mutual respect and understanding. The square where the miracle happened became a pilgrimage site where people from all over came to pray, meditate, and seek spiritual comfort. Among the religious leaders, there was a consensus that the miracle was not just a divine sign, but also a call to action. They began to work together on initiatives to improve life in the community, focusing on education, health, and social justice. This interfaith cooperation brought a new era of peace and prosperity to Jerusalem, showing that faith, when shared and lived together, can achieve great things. The impact of this event continued to resonate for many years. Stories of the miracle were passed down from generation to generation, inspiring new believers and strengthening the faith of the old. Books were written, songs were composed, and festivals were organized to celebrate the day Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky of Jerusalem. This miracle became a pillar of faith for many, reminding everyone that even in the darkest moments, God's light can shine brightly, bringing hope, love, and renewal. And so, the story of the miracle of Jerusalem lived on in the hearts of the people, an eternal testimony to divine power and the constant presence of God in their lives. As months passed, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to be the main topic of conversations throughout the city and beyond. Each person who witnessed the apparition had a unique and personal version to tell, and these narratives intertwined, creating a rich tapestry of faith and hope. One of these people was Caleb, a young shepherd tending his flock on the outskirts of Jerusalem. On that miraculous day, he was leading his sheep to graze when he saw the celestial glow in the sky. Caleb, a simple man, was so moved by the vision that he decided to dedicate his life to spreading the message of the miracle. He began to travel from village to village, sharing his testimony and encouraging others to strengthen their faith. In one of these villages, he met Ruth, a young woman who had lost hope after a series of personal tragedies. Hearing Caleb speak about the appearance of Jesus and the angel, Ruth felt her heart fill with new hope. Inspired by his story, she decided to accompany him on his travels, bringing comfort and faith to many others. As Caleb and Ruth traveled the region, they encountered others who had also been touched by the miracle. One of them was Levi, a former tax collector who had witnessed the event in Jerusalem. He had turned away from his life of wealth and luxury, feeling a call to serve the needy. Together, Caleb, Ruth, and Levi formed a small group of devotees committed to spreading the message of divine love and redemption. Reports of miracles and healings began to multiply. In a distant village, a woman born blind was healed after hearing about the apparition and praying fervently. In another, a paralyzed man stood up and walked, praising God for his mercy. These stories further increased people's faith and attracted crowds to hear the missionaries' words. The religious authorities in Jerusalem, seeing the positive impact of this movement, began to organize public meetings and discussions, inviting scripture scholars to interpret recent events. They believed that the miracle was a sign that new revelations were coming, and they wanted to prepare the people for this new era of spirituality. Among these scholars was Samuel, a respected rabbi who had dedicated his life to the study of the scriptures. He was initially skeptical of the miracle reports, but upon hearing the testimonies of so many people and seeing the profound changes in their lives, he began to believe. Samuel started to write about the miracle, compiling accounts and reflections that became a source of inspiration for future generations. The spiritual transformation in Jerusalem also attracted the attention of leaders from other regions. Emissaries from Rome, Alexandria, and Antioch arrived in the city to witness for themselves what was happening. They took the stories of faith and miracles with them, spreading the news throughout the empire. Over time, the square where the miracle occurred became a global pilgrimage site. Small traders began selling souvenirs, and the local economy flourished with the arrival of visitors from all over. The city of Jerusalem, which had always been a spiritual center, now was also a symbol of renewal and hope. Annual celebrations of the miracle brought together people of all ages and backgrounds. There were processions, songs, and reenactments of the appearance of Jesus and the angel, reviving the emotion and wonder of that day. Children grew up hearing these stories, and the elders remembered with affection and reverence the events that had transformed their lives. Thus, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem not only marked a unique moment in history but also inspired a lasting transformation in the faith and lives of the people. This celestial event continues to be a beacon of hope, reminding everyone of God's constant presence and infinite love. And like a flowing river, the message of the miracle continued to spread, touching hearts and souls, generation after generation. As the years passed, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem became a living legend, echoing not only in synagogues and temples but also in homes and hearts of all who heard of it. In every corner of the known world, the news of the miracle turned into a message of faith, hope, and spiritual renewal. Caleb, Ruth, and Levi, now known as the messengers of Jerusalem, continued their journeys, spreading the word and performing acts of kindness wherever they went. They established schools and orphanages, offering education and care to abandoned children and the needy. Their actions spoke as loudly as their words, showing divine love through their lives. One of the most moving stories of their travels happened in a small village on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. There lived a girl named Esther, who had lost her voice after a terrible trauma. Upon hearing about the miracles performed by the messengers of Jerusalem, her parents brought her to them in the hope that she might be healed. Seeing Esther, Caleb, Ruth, and Levi felt deep compassion. They prayed fervently for her, asking God to restore her voice. At the end of the prayer, something miraculous happened. Esther opened her mouth and, for the first time in years, began to speak. Her words were simple but filled with emotion and gratitude. Her parents wept with joy, and the entire village celebrated the miracle. Stories like Esther's became common wherever the messengers of Jerusalem went. News of their good works and the miracles that occurred in their presence spread, attracting more people to hear their messages and seek spiritual comfort. However, the impact of the miracle in Jerusalem was not limited to the actions of the messengers. In the city itself, the square where Jesus and the angel appeared was transformed into a sanctuary. People from all over the world came to pray and meditate, seeking a deeper connection with the divine. The city's economy flourished, but more importantly, the community became an example of harmony and cooperation. Among the visitors was a young man named Marcus, who came from Rome. Intrigued by the stories he had heard, he decided to see for himself the place where the miracle happened. Upon arrival, he felt an indescribable peace he had never experienced before. Inspired by what he saw and felt, Marcus decided to stay in Jerusalem, dedicating his life to studying the scriptures and serving others. Marcus became one of the greatest chroniclers of the miracle. He meticulously recorded the testimonies of those present that day, as well as the transformations that occurred in the city and beyond. His writings were compiled into a book that became a reference for scholars and believers worldwide. He also founded a school where he taught the next generation about the importance of faith, compassion, and service to others. As Jerusalem's fame as a spiritual center grew, religious leaders from various faiths began to gather in the city to discuss themes of faith and morality. These meetings promoted mutual understanding and cooperation that had previously seemed impossible. Jerusalem became a symbol of unity and a beacon of hope for all humanity. The years passed, but the memory of the miracle in Jerusalem remained alive. New generations grew up hearing the stories of Jesus and the angel, taught by their parents and grandparents. Traditions and celebrations in honor of the miracle continued, with processions and festivals that brought together people of all ages and backgrounds. Thus, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to illuminate the path of many, showing that even in the darkest moments, the divine light is always present, guiding, protecting, and inspiring. The appearance of Jesus and the angel was more than an event. It was a call to transformation, faith, and unconditional love that transcends all barriers. The message of the miracle became an indelible part of Jerusalem's soul and the world, reminding everyone that God's power is infinite and that through faith and action, we can perform miracles in our own lives and the lives of others. And so, the legend of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to be told, an eternal testimony to divine power and the constant presence of God in our lives. As the centuries passed, the miracle in Jerusalem was never forgotten. Each generation added its own stories and interpretations to the event, keeping the flame of faith and hope alive. The city became a destination for scholars, pilgrims, and spiritual seekers from all over the world. Among these seekers was Sarah, a young archaeologist fascinated by the miracle's history. She spent years studying Marcus's writings and other chroniclers, determined to uncover more about the event that changed so many lives. With a heart full of faith and a curious mind, Sarah dedicated her life to exploring the mysteries of the apparition. Sarah conducted several archaeological expeditions around Jerusalem, unearthing artifacts and ancient documents that shed new light on the miracle. In one of her expeditions, she found an ancient cave containing manuscripts written by an anonymous follower of the messengers of Jerusalem. These manuscripts detailed not only the appearance of Jesus and the angel but also the subsequent miracles performed by Caleb, Ruth, and Levi. The writings revealed unheard-of stories of healing, transformation, and faith. One of the most impressive accounts described how a man, blind from birth, regained his sight by touching a piece of cloth that was supposedly blessed by Jesus during the apparition. Another account spoke of a barren woman who, after praying at the miracle site, miraculously conceived a child. Sarah presented her discoveries at conferences and wrote a book that became a bestseller, inspiring a new wave of interest in the miracle of Jerusalem. Her work brought a deeper understanding of the event and its spiritual significance, showing how faith can transform lives in unexpected ways. The influence of the miracle also spread beyond the spiritual world. Artists, musicians, and writers found inspiration in the appearance of Jesus and the angel, creating works that touched people's souls. Paintings depicting the celestial scene adorned cathedrals and galleries, while hymns and songs based on the event filled hearts with joy and reverence. In the modern era, technology allowed the miracle's message to reach even more people. Documentaries were produced, interviews with scholars and witnesses were recorded, and social media platforms became a means to share stories and reflections on the miracle. People from all over the world could now connect with the story, regardless of their geographic location. In Jerusalem, the miracle site was transformed into a spiritual complex that included a museum, a study center, and a prayer sanctuary. Thousands of pilgrims visited the complex annually, participating in ceremonies and spiritual retreats. The streets around the complex were filled with shops selling souvenirs, books, and religious items, becoming a vibrant point of commerce and culture. The impact of the miracle continued to be felt in people's lives. In communities around the world, churches, synagogues, and mosques organized special events to celebrate the miracle, promoting unity and understanding between different faiths. The central message of the event, of faith, hope, and love, transcended religious and cultural barriers, uniting humanity in a common sense of spirituality. And so, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem remained a beacon of light in a world often marked by darkness. The appearance of Jesus and the angel served as a constant reminder that, regardless of the challenges we face, the divine presence is always with us, guiding us and offering us the hope of a better future. The legend of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to be told, not just as a story of the past, but as a living source of inspiration and transformation. And as long as there are people willing to listen and believe, the light of the miracle will never fade, illuminating the path for all future generations. The effects of the Jerusalem miracle extended to various areas of society, impacting science, philosophy, and even politics. With the growing dissemination of the story, people from various disciplines began to seek deeper meanings and practical applications for the miracle in their own fields of endeavor, transformation in science and philosophy. Scientists and philosophers began exploring the event from new perspectives. Science attempted to explain the miracle using advanced technologies to study the celestial light that was witnessed, while philosophers pondered the metaphysical significance of the apparition. Many concluded that certain aspects of the human experience cannot be fully understood by reason or science alone, but must be accepted with a spirit of humility and faith. Naomi walked to the sacred square where the miracle happened, now transformed into a vibrant spiritual center. Feeling small in the grandeur of the place, she knelt and began to pray, pouring out her heart and asking for guidance. As she prayed, a sense of peace enveloped her, as if a divine presence was by her side. She was not alone. Many others around her were also immersed in their own prayers and meditations. The atmosphere was one of reverence and communion, and Naomi felt for the first time in a long while that she was part of something greater. Inspired by the peace she found, she decided to join a spiritual support group that met regularly in the square. The influence of new generations. Among the group participants was a young man named David, a talented musician who composed hymns inspired by the miracle. He believed that music had the power to heal and unite people. David began to teach Naomi to play instruments and sing, using music as a form of prayer and meditation. The friendship between Naomi and David blossomed, and together they began to compose songs that captured the essence of the miracle and the spiritual journey of those who witnessed it. Their music quickly gained popularity, not only in Jerusalem but also worldwide, thanks to the internet and streaming platforms. The lyrics of their songs spoke of hope, forgiveness, and divine love, resonating deeply with all who heard them. Naomi and David became icons of a new generation of believers, inspiring young people to find their own spiritual path and use their talents to serve others. Global spread of the message. While Naomi and David spread their music, others continued to promote the miracle's message in various parts of the world. International conferences and spiritual retreats became common, attracting people of all cultures and religions to discuss the importance of faith and compassion in their lives. Sarah, the archaeologist who dedicated her life to studying the miracle, was invited to join an interfaith council formed by spiritual leaders from different traditions. Together, they worked to promote peace and mutual understanding, using the story of the miracle as an example of how divine events can transcend cultural barriers and unite humanity. The council launched several global initiatives, including educational programs that taught values of compassion, service, and mutual respect. Schools in various parts of the world began incorporating the story of the Jerusalem miracle into their curricula, using it as a tool to inspire and educate future generations. Stories of hope and transformation. In a small village in Africa, a woman named Amina first heard the miracle's story through a missionary who brought supplies and medical assistance. Amina, who had lost hope after the death of her husband, found solace and strength in the missionary's words. She decided to dedicate her life to helping others, founding a community clinic that provided free healthcare to the needy. Amina's clinic became a beacon of hope for the community, attracting volunteers and donations from all over the world. With each patient she helped, Amina felt she was giving back the compassion and love she found in the story of the Jerusalem miracle. Living legacy. Jerusalem continued to be a center of spirituality and transformation, with pilgrims and spiritual seekers from all over the world coming to experience the peace and divine presence that the miracle represented. The site of the miracle became a symbol of unwavering faith and eternal hope. Every anniversary of the miracle, grand celebrations took place, remembering the appearance of Jesus and the angel and the transformation it brought to the world. The streets filled with songs, prayers, and processions, with people of all ages and backgrounds coming together in a spirit of unity and love. Conclusion. The miracle of Jerusalem was not just a past event, but a living source of inspiration and continuous transformation. The story of Jesus and the angel's appearance continued to touch lives, bringing hope, faith, and love to all who heard it. And so, as long as there are open hearts and souls seeking the light, the message of the Jerusalem miracle will continue to shine, illuminating the path for all future generations. The appearance of Jesus and the angel was more than a singular event. It was the beginning of a global transformation that brought more understanding, compassion, and unity to humanity. The miracle of Jerusalem, with the celestial appearance of Jesus and the angel, left an indelible mark on the history of humanity. It was not just a singular event, but a turning point that inspired generations to seek a deeper connection with the divine, promote peace and compassion, and transform their lives and communities. The accounts of personal transformation and global spiritual renewal are living testimonies to the lasting impact of this miracle. From Jerusalem, where it all began, to the ends of the world, the message of love, faith, and hope continues to resonate, uniting people of different cultures and beliefs in a common purpose. Naomi and David, with their music, and so many others like them, dedicated their lives to spreading this light. Stories of healing, reconciliation, and new archaeological discoveries keep the flame alive, reminding us that the divine presence is always by our side, guiding us through the most challenging times. As long as there are open hearts willing to listen and souls ready to believe, the light of the Jerusalem miracle will never fade. It will continue to illuminate the path for all future generations, inspiring acts of kindness, faith, and unity. Thus, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem is not just a chapter of the past, but a continuous source of inspiration for the present and the future. It is an eternal reminder that, regardless of the obstacles we face, divine love is a powerful force capable of transforming the world. May the light of the miracle continue to shine in our hearts, guiding us toward a brighter and more united future. And may the message of Jesus and the angel remain alive, inspiring us to live with compassion, faith, and hope, always remembering that we are all connected by the divine presence. The story of the Jerusalem miracle is, and always will be, a beacon of hope for all humanity.